The quotation can be found in a gory video game.
In one of the most embarrassing national segments that, personally, I've ever seen, the show Inside Edition blamed video games for the recent school shooting in Michigan. But not only did they blame video games, which, is a normal thing, at least it was 20 years ago, but they blamed them by using a famous quote that they misattributed to coming from a video game. So I'm going to play this for you. This is a quick piece of the segment here, just about 30 seconds long, but it is unbelievably stupid. Check this out.
One post from Ethan Crumbley declares, "Now I am become death, the destroyer of worlds. See you tomorrow, Oxford." The quotation can be found in a gory video game.
I am become death, the destroyer of worlds.
Several years ago, Crumbley made this video showing off his collection of violent games.
Got Battlefield 4. Comment if you want to play that one.
This is absolutely one of the dumbest things I've ever seen. And, maybe I feel that way because I play video games and I am very familiar with how they do not lead to shootings. I mean, it's very obvious now with the millions upon millions, especially when it comes to the games they showed there, as I'll show you in a second. Grand Theft Auto, Battlefield, we're talking hundreds of millions of sales here. Clearly, they do not lead to shootings. Otherwise, there would be millions more of these kinds of shootings. But the quote, that misattributed quote, how do you misattribute that by accident? This had to have been propaganda done, intentionally, because you don't have to even read to have heard of that quote before. But I'll get to more on where that quote actually comes from, even though I'm sure most of you know. But it's just unbelievable to me how stupid this was. They didn't, look at the parents. They didn't look at gun culture. They didn't look at the schools in action. They didn't look at mental health. No. Video games. Something that millions of kids play, but somehow they blame video games. So first, before I get to the quote, just quickly here, when it comes to Grand Theft Auto, one of the games they showed there in the video, it is the 5th best-selling franchise of all time. Of all time. 345 million total sales worldwide. Grand Theft Auto 5 in particular makes up 42% of total franchise sales with an astronomical 145 million units shipped worldwide. And on top of that, the game is rated 17 plus, so he shouldn't have been playing it. But still, a lot of kids do play it, and they don't go and, shoot up a school. So it's so ridiculous to still, in the year 2021, try and blame video games for these kinds of events. But, let's get to the quote. This is the dumbest part of that video, clearly. So from Wired here, as he witnessed the first detonation of a nuclear weapon on July 16th, 1945, a piece of Hindu scripture ran through the mind of Robert Oppenheimer. Quote, "Now I am become death, the destroyer of worlds." It is perhaps the most well-known line from the Bhagavad Gita, but also the most misunderstood. So it's not from a video game. How do you misattribute this incredibly famous quote to Fallout 3? It is so stupid. This had to have been intentional propaganda, not just, I'm not sure who wrote the script for that piece there, but they had to have done it on purpose, right? I mean, you can't have, no one's that sheltered to not have heard that quote before, and yet randomly found it in Fallout 3, which, by the way, I haven't played. I didn't know that quote was in the game. So it's not like it's a well-known quote in the game, but they use the game to claim that's where the quote's from, the same quote that he wrote. It's so freaking stupid. But the silver lining here, I guess, is that you are not really seeing these kinds of segments anymore. Blaming video games is kind of something that happened, 20 years ago, 10, 20 years ago. For the most part, the media has stopped doing that, realizing how dumb it is, and looking at, in most cases, looking at the actual source of the problem, be it, gun culture, the NRA, and easy access to weapons. Mental health plays into it as well. So, of course, there's a lot of variety of factors. In this particular instance, with this event, clearly the parents and the school not taking the kid out of, or the school not taking the kid out of school immediately, I think was the largest issue here. And of course, his access to a gun, his dad buying him a gun the day before. Yeah, that is obviously what led to all of this. Despite all the warning signs, they did not act the way they should have acted in terms of removing the kid from the school. But regardless, I mean, They had to, I guess, in this case, this show's on CBS. CBS known to have a largely older audience, so the way they work the fear mongering there with the propaganda about video games, I guess they're simply trying to serve their audience.